I am Vikas Vaibhav, an IPS officer of the 2003 batch, born into the Bihar cadre. This is my second talk at TEDx. The earlier talk was for TEDx Vikramshila, way back about 3 years ago, when I was posted as DIG of Bhagalpur. At that point of time, I had spoken about how heritage transformed me, my journey right from the very days of early childhood into a police officer, and how the consciousness of heritage impacted my overall professional journey as a police officer. In that talk, I had also shared how my vision for Bihar evolved over the years and how I felt that if we want to really inspire the future of Bihar, we have to connect with the youth and we have to tell them the 3 E's of education, egalitarianism and entrepreneurship. This has taken the form of a movement across Bihar with thousands of youth connected in different districts, not only in Bihar, but in people from Bihar living across all over the world. That was the first TEDx talk. Today, I'm here with you to share some secrets of success, some secrets which make you different from others, some secrets which have been followed since time immemorial for solving ethical dilemmas. I'll start with a very old story, a story in the Mahabharata in which Yudhishthir, known for his righteousness, had faced a dilemma. What was the dilemma? Most of us have seen the serial Mahabharata or would have read stories from the Mahabharata, but many few of us would have actually read the whole text of the Mahabharata. I have read the whole Mahabharata. It took me a year to do so, almost 2 months for every volume, 6 volumes in total, lots of pages, but some stories still stick in my mind and remind me whenever I face dilemmas. So one story of Yudhishthir facing such dilemma is very interesting. This was the time when the Swayamvar of Draupadi had taken place, and after that Swayamvar, after the Pandavas, they came back home, and the mother Kunti, she told them to share whatever they had got. This was a very big dilemma for the brothers, and more so for Yudhishthir, who was known for righteousness, because he never wanted any conduct of his to convey a wrong message. A lot of debate went inside as we read the Mahabharata. They consulted several people. They consulted Drupad, they consulted Draupadi's brother. They tried to consult each and every person they could find around that place to find a solution to this dilemma. When they asked Yudhishthir himself, he was totally in a state of dilemma and totally confused. And then he met Lord Krishna trying to solve the dilemma. So then Lord Krishna said, "What is your dilemma?" So he says, "I am faced with a situation which has no answer. If I read the Shrutis, say the Vedic Vedas, any of the Vedas does not have the answer, because none of the verses contained in any of the 4 Vedas has such an example in which a wife could be wife of more than a person." Then he says, there is no Smriti. None of the Dharma Shastras quote an example of such an earlier example. Then he says, how do I take a decision? And Krishna says, and one more thing that he said was, first is Shruti, second is Smriti, and third was, even any of the Mahapurush, a great man I knew, has not ever set such an example. So with that being the first man with such a question, generations would judge me. So what should I be doing? And then Lord Krishna says, when such a problem arises, when even the Shruti or the Smriti or even the conduct of the great men known over the ages does not provide you an answer, seek within your mind, listen to your inner voice and try to find the answer. What is the right and what is wrong? And when you look within, you will find that even in the most different type of situation in which one is really perplexed trying to find answers, there is an answer which emerges within your core, which guides the way. And then he asks Yudhishthir, what do you think, what does your inner mind say? So in the spirit of righteousness, Yudhishthir says, since I have been faced with a situation in which my mother has told me to obey and I have never disobeyed her, and also with a situation which is so, as I have described, I think I should do what my mother is saying. And then Lord Krishna says, you have already found your answer. And then he starts quoting different stories of how Draupadi was born, and several other stories of how the present situation occurred and what was the blessing that Draupadi was bestowed with. But the core of the message is, whenever you are in a dilemma in life, somewhere within the mind, there is an answer. And that is what is the spirit of the Vedantic learning. As a police officer, I shared how, growing as a child, being called a Bihari, I faced a situation very different, and I tried to prove that being a Bihari is not a weakness but a source of strength. We represent a land of intellect, represent a land of rich culture, a land which was the center of Akhanda Bharat, which had boundaries beyond Afghanistan, beyond the Himalayas, up to the sea and beyond the northeast. And such a land could be created only because people had the spirit of learning, people had the capacity to think beyond, they could think big and they could connect beyond disparities. They were castes even then, but we knew how to emerge beyond caste, and that is how Bihar then was known. And that is how when I was studying in IIT Kanpur, gradually I felt that to devote my services in Bihar, I should become a police officer and join the civil services. That's what brought me to the civil services. But when I see situations and when I see people behaving, what makes one from good to great? Everyone in every journey of life, every day, will face ethical dilemmas. Every single day you do not know what the other day would be, what the situation would be, how you are supposed to respond in such a situation. As I had shared, I've often had various interactions, various different interactions with people who are so-called high and mighty. How did I face? What makes one from good to great? In very early days as an ASP, Assistant Superintendent of Police, I was posted in Aurangabad, and the year was 2005. Elections were going on. After conducting the elections peacefully in Aurangabad, I was sent to different assembly constituencies. The first one after Aurangabad being Raghopur in Vaishali district. The second was Madhuban in Motihari district, and the third one was Akilpur Diara in Danapur in Patna district. So the experiences were very varied. Raghopur was a different experience, roaming around with Diara in a place which was known earlier for booth capturings, and that is what was the reason which probably the election commissions had sent me there for. Madhuban in Motihari was a very different place. It had recently seen a Naxal attack in which the police station and the whole installations in Madhuban had been attacked by Naxals. Several people had lost their lives. And it had a long history of violence, electoral violence. What did I do in that situation? Normally, if a police officer is sent, you have different ways to react. But there are situations in which you are faced with a person who is known as high and mighty. And then, how do you respond? So, as a young police officer, when I come from a very middle class background, I had never faced anyone who was so-called known or dreaded. But as an ASP, that was the first time when I really felt that anyone has the courage if you stand by the truth, and you can face anyone. In Madhuban, I arrested the then candidate because he was violating the model code of conduct on a day before the elections, and it was a very different experience. Facing the whole thing, it was just like what you watch in movies, talking to someone, arresting someone from the crowd, sending someone to jail in the wee hours of the morning, conducting elections, different. And the person who had been arrested was one of the most powerful persons who came from a very powerful family who were feared in the area at that point of time. After that, I had been transferred as ASP Danapur. Here also, I had another interaction with another politician who again was known for different reasons, and they had tried to approach me for some grievances. So initially my response was very polite. I met them very politely. I offered them a cup of tea. I offered them snacks. I listened to their grievances, and I found the honorable politician, and then I requested him, and then I said, what is he doing there? And he said he has come for shaving. And then frantic calls started coming that even in the presence of the officer in charge, still the same behavior is continuing. And it was about 9:30 when I again asked what is going on, and I heard that again shaving was going on. Then 10 o'clock, almost since the evening it had been continuing, it was still the same thing. And then one has to have either react in a manner when you say that please tell him, please do so, or you have to take courage to take action yourself. I again listened to my inner voice. Being the SP, of the district, if something unruly is going on in my very vicinity and I'm not acting, I'm trying to just guide and I'm trying to just order, knowing that the person who is trying to, would be implementing that order does not have the whole courage. And that's the time when, as a leader, you have to show that courage. And that's what I did. I went personally, arrested the honorable politician under section 151 of CRPC, which empowers a police officer to arrest someone who suspects is going to commit an offence. And then things changed. There was a lot of struggle. That night, later, several cases I had to reinvestigate. An inquiry was set up against me. A very senior police officer visited Bagha. And that is the time when it's spread out for the truth. You find that there is a large section of civil society who come out in your support. And very young in my career, I found in 2007, almost 5,000 people were on the roads when that inquiry was going on. Conducting that inquiry, getting that inquiry conducted in that atmosphere in which people were vociferously declaring their support and against that honorable politician was a very difficult experience because no such violence would have been allowed. As a police officer, I tried to take the public away from the scene. It was a different experience, and then again, the things did not stop then. It continued for about almost 2 days in the Legislative Assembly. There was a lot of voice of people from the ruling parties protesting against me. And just you can imagine an SP sitting in a corner of Bihar, what would the mental situation be when so many people are voicing for you, trying to target you. But the inner voice says, even in such tough situations, if you know that you have done the right thing, be rest assured, time will judge you. And with the grace of God, that situation also passed very much in my favor. Bagha has changed today. Similar happenings happened in Rohtas, different politicians. Again, I was with the National Investigation Agency. I had different encounters, different interactions with one of the most famous terrorists of India, India's most wanted. And when I had an interaction examining him for almost a month, we took him to different places in India. We took him to Goa, we took him to Ranchi, all these hideouts. All this time I was interacting. And again, what I found, that person again, he was also having a similar feeling that what he was doing was right. But he was guided by certain, he said, by certain scriptures. And then I engaged him into dialogue. What do you think? And again, believe me, even in that interaction which I had, the person was simply claiming that because certain scriptures have told me that you should be doing this, I am doing this. And because I don't know, I have not read the scriptures, but someone has guided me. But when I listen to my inner voice, then I do feel that what I am doing is probably wrong. So then I asked him. He is still in prison, he has been punished, he has been convicted, but the inner feeling, what is the inner feeling? Inner feeling is human. It comes from within. It does not come from any books, it does not come from any experiences. And situations keep on varying. Even as I talk to you today, I am passing through a different phase, which is, I would call a tough phase of my life. But I have the very commitment that things will still move on and to move forward very much in my favor because I have the conviction that I am standing for the right. And when you, as an individual, you want to make your journey from good to great, have that courage, have that strength to stand up for the right. And believe me, people will follow you if you are doing the right thing. There may be temporary phases when you will be disturbed, people will try to target you. But if you really want to journey beyond, like many people become successful. I've talked how the top of the triangle is of those people who reach there by desire, dedication, determination. But to reach to that top of the ladder, when you actually create history, you have to listen to your inner voice. Every opportunity will come in which there will be a dilemma. What is next to be done? Often we look at examples, we try to seek examples, we try to seek advice. But many a times the advice that comes is not right. Many a times the experience which others may have had may not stand the right thing for you. And then, if you really want to go great, you should actually listen to your inner conscience, and then your journey would be really inspiring. You'll become an inspiration and you'll inspire others because such an inspiration is eternal. It is in every one of us. Like in the Upanishads, they said, Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. The complete remains complete and goes back to the complete. What did the Rishi mean? He simply meant that if you cut a piece of gold into several pieces, several particles, if the smallest part to have the same quality. So as if we believe that we are part of the Almighty, of the same spirit which has the power to control the universe, and if we really believe that we are a part of Him, a part of the same universal consciousness, then can we divide infinity? Even if you divide infinity into small pieces, what will the small pieces be? They will still remain infinite. So every one of us is blessed, is born with a potential which is infinite. But often we do not listen to our own inner voice and we get affected, we get distracted. We should not do that. If you really want to be successful in life, listen to your inner voice. And your inner voice is always there to guide you. In the Upanishad they said, Dva Suparna Sevja Sakhaya Samana Vriksham Parisajate. On the same branch of a tree sit two birds. One bird enjoys everything, relishes everything, and the other bird simply watches. That other bird is your consciousness, which within the same soul is always guiding you what is right, what is wrong. If you are guided by that bird, definitely your journey will be very inspiring and from good to great. As the Mahabharata says, again in a different story, I'll end my talk with that. Another dilemma which Yudhishthira had faced was when he was in a dialogue with Yaksh. All his brothers were unconscious, probably dead. He had gone to that pond and found a Yaksh who was asking him questions. He had replied several questions one by one. And the last question after the Yaksh was trying to test him, he was still wondering what should I now ask. And he asked, if among your brothers you want me to make one brother alive, who would you name? And then Yudhishthira says, Nakul, without any second thought. And then Yaksh says, you are going to fight a war very soon. You will be fighting a war which will be the biggest war of all times. So you should have asked either Bhim, who is the biggest, strongest man on earth today, or you could have asked for Arjun, who is the most talented archer in the present world today. Why are you asking for Nakul? And then Yudhishthira says, Dharma bhatu dharma rakshati rakshita. One who protects the dharma, dharma protects him. If you protect the law, if you protect the right thing, the righteousness will protect you. Why did he say so? Yudhishthira had two mothers. He was born from the first mother, Kunti was still alive. The second mother, Madri, was no more. And Madri's first elder son was Nakul. So he said, if I had asked for either Arjun or Bhim, keeping the Mahabharata within mind, then I would be doing wrong to also my mother, Madri, who is no more and is not represented. So to do justice to her, which is the right conduct, I asked for Nakul. And then Yaksh was so satisfied that he made all four brothers alive. And then he agreed, so please always believe in yourself, in your inner voice, and do the right thing. Thank you. Jai.